All right, let's take this across to our top story on the show this evening. And of course, we're discussing the political movements down south in Telangana. Chandrashekhar Rao has set the tone for early elections in the state. Governor ESL Narasimhan has today dissolved the State Assembly on the recommendation of the KCR-led cabinet, paving the way for possible early elections, maybe in November or as early as December. However, the governor has asked KCR to continue as the caretaker chief minister. Just after the dissolution of the assembly, KCR launched an all-out attack against not just the Congress party, but also its President Rahul Gandhi, calling him the biggest buffoon in the country. KCR claims that Rahul inherited the Delhi Congress Sultanate. His remark comes amid reports that TRS is establishing closer ties with the Bharatiya Janata Party. It's an important political development and it's only fair we put the spotlight where it rests. Now, Neerja Chaudhary, political commentator and columnist, joins us right here. We've got Badugula Linga Yadav, MP of Rajya Sabha from the TRS, Shaina NC, spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Shravan Dasoju, General Secretary and Chief Spokesperson of the Congress. As everybody joins in, let's get the discussion going as far as Telangana is concerned. Neerja Chaudhary, what do you make of KCR's decision to dissolve the assembly? You know, many people are speculating this is likely to happen. He's chosen his lucky day 6th, his lucky date 6th. Gone ahead, recommended dissolution, is looking at early elections. What do you make of that to begin with?
I think, of course, this has been in the air for a while, and to cut short the term of his government by 9 long months. You know, no chief minister wants to cut short his term even by a single day. So that is a very major decision. So what are the considerations? What are the calculations? Obviously, his first concern would be get the state back under my belt. And today, obviously, he feels this is the best time to consolidate his gains. This also shows that he is worried about the regrouping that is taking place in the Congress reaching out to the TDP for an alliance in Telangana. So the Reddies being very unhappy, the Kammas remaining with the TDP, all those are many factors. So the going has been good for him. So strike now, consolidate your gain, get the state under you, and in the national elections, he probably doesn't want to be caught in that cross current. Of course, there are people who feel he would be worried about the Modi magic rubbing off on his voters in a simultaneous poll, because Andhra is supposed to be going to the poll, would have gone to the polls along with the general election. But I think since the BJP's existence is pretty well negligible in Telangana and a revival of the party does not really take place overnight, I would have thought that he would be worried more about the Congress. If the Congress prospects start to look up, how will it affect him in a simultaneous poll? So he would keep his options open nationally. He can go with either side, whoever wins in the national election, but overall I think he's striking to consolidate his gains as of today.
You know, to put it very simply, and Neerja, you've really hit the nail on its head. I think to put it very simply, he's perhaps catering to his core constituency, which is the state of which he presides over as chief minister. Everything else can follow later, is exactly what one makes of KCR's decision to go for early elections. But this is not going for early elections by 2 or 3 months. This is advancing elections by almost 9 months before his term really ends. But let me just take this across to Shravan before I go to Ms. Shaina NC. And Shravan, you represent the Congress party here. Neerja Chaudhary makes this point that is he doing this out of fear of the Congress? Is he doing this because there is some amount of traction that the Congress is getting? Is he trying to attack the Congress? Even in his comments, he was extremely vociferous against the Congress. He says Congress is enemy #1 of the Telangana. He said Rahul Gandhi is a buffoon. You know, having said all of that, he obviously wants to peak. He wants to leverage the peak feel-good factor. Has he taken you by surprise? Do you leave? Are you left stumped as he dissolves the assembly?
Yeah, first of all,
Mr.
Congress is not surprised, knowing well Mr. KCR and the plans that he has been playing for the last few months. Ever since he met Mr. Narendra Modi a few months back, I think he's toying with his idea of being part of, Jamali elections, one, or if they are not likely to happen, he is probably planning to advance. This probably information we have, and we are pretty much prepared. And a party like 124-year-old party, which has grassroots cadre, network, and village-level organization structure, need not worry about facing the elections, and we are not worried. But the question is that, as my previous speaker has narrated, he's oscillating. He's a bundle of contradictions. One is he's extremely confident that he'll come back to power. The other end is that he's completely, as she narrated, he's scared of the Congress party that it will bounce back and then take the power in 2019, because a lot of anti-KCR forces, democratic forces, and opposition parties are rallying together to fight this dictator and then restore the democratic Telangana. So before those alliances take place, he thought, he's playing a master game and then, call for these elections. But I think he dug his own grave. I'm sure KCR is likely to be nailed because he failed to fulfill a lot of promises. And he's oozing his arrogance and he's showing his illegally accumulated wealth. So with all these excessive confidence that he has today, he's thinking that he'll come back. But surely Telangana people are vexed with his completely dictatorial rule, and then he will be taught a big lesson. The other very important point, being a chief minister, he should not degrade. He can degrade himself, but he cannot degrade the position that he sits on.
No, give me a minute.
Being a chief minister, he goes on talking a Congress president as such kind of remarks. I think it's condemnable.
Okay. Let's not get into this debate here. I want to quickly go across to Shaina NC. And Shaina, many people believe, whether it's political commentators, whether it's the opposition, the TDP, they all believe this entire thing is being orchestrated to BJP's advantage.
Why would we need to orchestrate? To understand that the Bharatiya Janata Party has won 21 states in this great country of ours, and I don't say it with a sense of arrogance, I say it with a sense of pride, because we have the most charismatic leader in the Prime Minister. Now, coming to Telangana, I think that Mr. KCR taking a decision such as this, whether it's calculated, whether it's conscious, or whether it's a strategy, is best answered by him. But as we as a country, or we as a government rather, don't completely dismiss the fact that elections that are to be held in a state and in a particular assembly would be wary of the fact that BJP is the supreme party and that we are going to make it into a majority all across the length and breadth of this country. So if this is the reason why he has chosen to take a political gamble and for it to pay off, his answers best by the Mr. KCR's party, I don't want to be sitting here as a political commentator, but as a political activist, I can clearly say, please don't discard BJP or suggest that we have no scope or no role to play in Telangana. Do remember, whether it's a state like Assam or Jammu Kashmir where we really had no entry, we did not just make inroads, we made governments. So a political gamble that somebody has taken to swiftly change gears or to change gears for their own reasons best known to them, whether it is wanting to have the election together with Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, is a decision of the Election Commission. It is not that of our party. But as a political party, to dismiss us and suggest that this is a fight between him and the Congress, I think would be absolute being foolhardy.
Hold that thought, because I'm going to take it across to Nija Chaudhary. And Nija, you did mention early on that we are perhaps going to see some sort of political realignments in Telangana. What is to be expected? Do we see MIM come up with TRS? Do we see TDP with the Congress? Because what is very conspicuous is that even though he's announced the names of about 105 candidates across the state, he's kept the 5 with the BJP out of this. So that's extremely conspicuous. Even though Shaina, and rightly so, would want to deny that this has anything to do with any alignments with the BJP. But what sort of political realignments are you expecting as far as Telangana is concerned?
I think, as I said earlier, the Congress is reaching out to the TDP and vice versa. That could fructify. As far as KCR is concerned, I don't somehow think he will go for a pre-poll alliance with the BJP, because he would worry about the Muslims in the state of alienating them and they're a good number, almost 10% in Telangana, and they voted for his party last time. So that is one of the reasons why he publicly would keep a distance from the BJP. But it is a fact that in recent months, his party has been gravitating closer to the BJP. Of course, as somebody mentioned, he himself has met Narendra Modi 3 times in 1 month. He voted with the ruling side in the election of the deputy chairperson in the Rajya Sabha. He enabled the BJP to win the no confidence motion. His MPs, when they rushed into the well of the house, every time the TDP MPs used to talk about a no trust motion in the budget session first, if you remember, they would rush into the house and there'd be a hangama and then it could not be taken up. So, and you know, demonetization, several laws, he stood by the ruling side, he stood by the BJP. So, there is this impression that he's been gravitating towards the BJP, and yet he doesn't want to take an open position because of the Muslim factor. Now, will he, once he's got the state under him, which he hopes would happen, then would he be much more open during the Lok Sabha elections, or will it still continue to keep his options open and decide which way to go only after the Lok Sabha election? So, he is a bit like the BJD and 1 or 2 other parties who would not take a stand clearly either way before the elections, but would move towards whoever comes to power in Delhi in 2019.
But that's exactly the question that we need to ask the Congress party representative and then China and see, can one trust KCR? 3 months back, he made this clarion. I'm just coming to you, Shaina. Give me a minute, I'm coming to you. Shravan, I have a question to ask of you. Can one trust KCR? 3 to 4 months back, he made this clarion call of a federal front. Mamata Banerjee was congratulating him and all of that, and you know, NCP was talking to him. And then suddenly he decides to skip Kumaraswamy's swearing-in ceremony, which was this grand show of opposition unity and strength. He decides to then rally behind the BJP as far as the deputy chairman's position in the Rajya Sabha is concerned. What does one make of KCR? And you know, he is keeping his options open, but he's also somebody who could well ally and you know want to be leading the third front.
See, I think if you characterize Mr. KCR, he's a person to be called as a complete political opportunist. And second is, I think Ms. Chowdhury has narrated so well. I think she nailed the entire hidden political agenda very well. He started this federal front game also at the behest of Mr. Narendra Modi. Whom all he met, you have to look at. He met those allies who are very close to UPA, like he met Akhilesh Yadav, he met Mamata Banerjee, he met Biju Patnaik, he met JDS chief. These are all essentially who are relatively close to the UPA and then who are part of the UPA government. And he was trying to break away the UPA so that the anti-incumbency vote, which would ultimately get transferred to the Congress party, would go to the so-called third front and then thereby, you know, strengthening the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Modi's government. It's a clear ploy. So that he failed. Federal front, I think he failed. Now, at least, you know, with regard to Telangana, he wanted to advance the polls so that 2019 elections would be a fight between Narendra Modi and Mr. Rahul Gandhi. When two giants are fighting their anti-incumbency of BJP and anti-incumbency of his own self, he wanted to get away from that anti-incumbency factor, and then he is now advancing these elections. But essentially he has to answer, 8 months before, he has withdrawn his, asked for the dissolution. And then probably after 2-3 months, elections will happen. And again, after 2-3 months, the parliament elections, which means about 2,000 crores once, and then subsequent another 2,000 crores, 4,000 crores of public money he is misusing just for the sake of his political gimmick and political opportunism, which I think Telangana people are completely aware, and then surely will
Shravan, give me a minute. You may call it a gimmick, others may call it pure politics. Shravan, please give me a minute. You may call it a gimmick because you're from the opposition. Others may call it pure politics. I mean, please look at it from TRS's point of view. Telangana is his core constituency. He doesn't care about what happens nationally and what follows from 2019. He cares about his own constituency. He wants to hit the iron when it's hot. That's what every politician will do. But just hold that thought. And let me take this across to Shaina. And Shaina, he supports you when there is a Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman election. He decides not to go for H.D. Kumaraswamy's swearing in. He's talking about the federal front. He calls Rahul Gandhi a buffoon. He says Mr. Modi is a great leader. What does one make of a politician like that? I don't want to use the word political opportunism that his opposition used, but if it's not that, then what really it is?
Well, there are lots of leaders, Supriya, that absolutely idolize Prime Minister Modi and have gone on record saying that what a fantastic Prime Minister he is. So, I am not shocked by that comment at all. I just want to go back to Nirjaji's initial analysis where she says 10% of the people in Telangana are Muslims and he's worried about what will happen to the Muslim vote bank. Let me please remind you, in Uttar Pradesh, Bharatiya Janata Party got this overwhelming majority because the Dalits and Muslims alike voted for Prime Minister Modi's inclusive approach, and the fact that Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas really translated into a vote which was a vote for development, and I'm sure it's going to be the same in Telangana. Having said that, if Mr. KCR has gone to the governor and the government has accepted the cabinet's decision, it's really not for us to opine on when this election will be held and who should be continuing as the future chief minister, because being a caretaker CM and a real CM is two different things, and we all know that that is based on an intelligent electorate which is going to go out and give a mandate and a verdict. But the tally of the BJP, which stands at 5 today, is definitely not going to multiply or go into double digits, but I can assure you would be a force to reckon with. So, if you actually look at the kind of breakup in Telangana right now, you have the TRS which is at the top, which is absolute majority. You have the Congress way down to a 13. And you have other players like MIM and local regional leaders, but I think the time has come for the people of Telangana to decide based on a development plan which is all inclusive for the whole country. So, that goes beyond a Muslim vote bank or a particular vote bank that any party is trying to eye. I just want to say that whether this is advantage BJP or advantage TRS or advantage Congress, the only thing we have to understand is that the electorate of this country does not want wasteful spending of taxpayers' money. One of the reasons why our Prime Minister has talked about one nation, one poll is precisely this, that at the drop of a hat, if you feel an election is the way forward in a democracy, right, you're doing a disservice to the crores of taxpayers who are diligently paying their dues, not for wasteful spending.
Okay. No, but China, the contrary point to that is that's exactly the reason why KCR has undone it. He believes that if 2019 is going to be an election that's going to be fought between the Congress and the BJP, he may actually end up losing more than winning, because there could be an anti-incumbency of the BJP and the Congress may be on an upsurge and Telangana's issues may get drowned somewhere. That's exactly why, that's one of the arguments that's made against simultaneous polls. But very quickly, Neerja Chaudhary, I have to ask you this question. What does this do to a lot of other regional satraps? You know, many people believe that KCR will have the first mover advantage. He stumped his opposition by announcing 105 seats. Election campaign begins from tomorrow itself. He is the first to have announced elections early on. What does this do to a lot of other regional satraps who are all in a wait and a watch sort of a mode, but will now perhaps be forced to take some sort of an action given KCR has acted upon it?
No, it's quite impressive that he should, even before the Election Commission gets word of these developments of dissolution of the assembly, he has announced his 105 candidates already. Of them, of course, he's given tickets to 88 sitting candidates. That's a very interesting development. Why he's chosen to do it, because most parties would field a substantial number of new faces because of anti-incumbency that builds up against existing MLAs. But as far as the state satraps are concerned, you know, it's very interesting. He was the first one who mooted the idea of the federal front, as you were saying. Now, a federal front that joins hands with the Congress is problematic for the BJP, but a federal front that takes on the Congress frontally, and he, for instance, calling Rahul Gandhi a buffoon and taking on the Congress, then it's a three-way split, which is advantage, which could be advantage BJP. So, it's very interesting, and the other state satraps have been cool to the idea. Mamta was cool to the idea. JDS joined hands with the Congress in the after the elections. Which were the other parties we were talking about? All of them. BJD, Odisha was also cool to the idea. So, the federal front, as of today, is not about to take off. More likely, we are going to see something that will actually make a difference to the opposition is if they can get together in 5 large states of India. If the opposition gets together in UP, Bihar, Maharashtra, Jharkhand and Karnataka, that's problematic for the BJP. It doesn't matter whether there's an overall national front or not. So, I think it's very interesting to watch KCR's moves for the national impact, as well as of course he wants certainly the state to come back to him, and then he will be in a stronger position to play national politics also.
Okay, Neerja, hold that thought because I'm going to take a quick last word with the Congress party. And Shravan, much as I may want to, look for reasons of KCR, I am a little baffled with the Congress's own manifesto for the state. I mean, now let's make our peace with the fact that Telangana is going to see early elections. What will these elections be fought on? The Congress is still talking about free wheat, rice, etc., to the scheduled castes, 200 units of free power every month. You are still talking about 3,000 rupees per month to the unemployed youth in the state. You're talking about 1 lakh government jobs to be created, 1 lakh private sector jobs to be created. I mean, why are we still talking about these dole-outs? Hasn't India moved beyond this entitlement-based economy, these entitlement-based policies?
I think you haven't read the manifesto that was prepared by Mr. Chandrashekhar Rao in 2014, 1. 2, and you have also probably not followed the kind of programs that he has been implementing. Completely unproductive programs that he has implemented. But it is the Congress party for the first time has conceived how a true democratic Telangana is supposed to be built, and based on which, we have come out with the, number of programs that we are announcing right now. 2 is, I think, we have about 30 lakh unemployed in the state of Telangana, and there are about 2.5 lakhs of government jobs vacant in the Telangana government. And this man has not filled not even 20,000 in the last 4 months. And Congress is taking a vote to, fill all those government jobs. And what's the wrong in that?
Okay, there may be nothing wrong in that. I don't think that politics has stayed or has held very fast in India beyond 2014. But leave it to you. Thank you very much, Neerja Chaudhary, Mr. Shravan, and of course Shaina NC for joining us on this edition of a very special show. We are seeing new formations and political realignments in the state of Telangana. KCR has been the first to go ahead, dissolve the assembly 9 months before it was due for elections. Elections will perhaps happen sometime in November and December, coinciding with Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. The big logic that a lot of people believe is that KCR wants to strike the iron when it's hot. He wants to leverage the peak of the popularity, and which is why he's gone ahead and done that. It's an 18% Muslim majority state. He will perhaps take to get MIM in the fold. He does not want to wait up until 2019 when there could be an anti-incumbency for Mr. Modi or a resurgence of sorts for the Congress, which is his principal opposition in Telangana. But these are new political developments, and I think there will be plenty more that we will see in a run up to 2019. Thanks very much, viewers, for tuning in.